Hi guys, Dorothy here, professional astrologer. You can find me on the web at nhastrologer.com. And thank you for coming and listening to this today. I'm going to talk about 2019. I'm going to do a video forecast for each of the zodiac signs. But first, I'm going to give you 5 or 6 minutes of the year overview. Take notes. And then this will be the introduction. It's going to be in front of each one of the other videos that I create. So if you watch this introduction, you can skip it in the other videos if you end up watching more than one. All right. So let's get started. We have eclipses. Capricorn and Cancer. Cancer, Capricorn, oppositions, full moons, new moons, starting in January, ending in December. 5 eclipses this year. January 5th, January 21, see if I can remember, July 2nd, July 16, December 26. You could slow that down or hit pause and listen again. Those eclipses, mainly the Cancer Capricorn. So what this is doing, the eclipses, they change zodiac signs every 18 months or so. So these eclipses with the transiting lunar nodes, they're called, that's where eclipses happen. It is helping us and ushering us into a more authentic place in who we are. What we're focusing on is our home, security, our career. Do you feel like you're being true to yourself? That Cancer eclipses especially are helping us to tap into our emotions and how secure do I feel in my home? Do I feel secure? Can I come home and be vulnerable and emotional and comfortable and relaxed? Because home life, Cancer, and the public life, Capricorn, are 2 very different things, but they are tethered by an opposition. They are, when something happens on one end of the stick, it happens on the other end, right? Because there's always 2 ends to a stick, unless you make a circle, and that's all the 12 zodiac signs. But the opposition, Cancer, Capricorn, is ushering us into this area of being authentic in how we're presenting ourselves to the world. Now, a lot of people, it will create insecurities for some people, depending on how evolved or how in alignment with what's important for you. So this Cancer stuff can make us overly emotional, or it can help us tap into how we need to be more in tune with how we feel. Because life should feel good. Life shouldn't be difficult. Difficult things happen, yes, and we move through them. We always move through them. And that's where you tap into your emotions. And that's what this eclipse stuff is all about, in Cancer especially, helping us to get in touch with who you really are. And then the opposite energy of Capricorn is about being an authority at what it is that you do, feeling authentic, feeling like you're very validating how you feel. You can take control of things, which is great if you need to, but make sure you do it from an emotional place. How do I feel about this? Great, now I can take charge. All right, this is that Cancer Capricorn energy. It's super strong this year because of the eclipses. I mean, we have this energy every year, but it's powerful. So I'm going to, in the individual videos, I'm going to talk about it. You write all those keywords down that resonated with you, and then I'm going to talk about it in each house when it happens, okay? And so you'll get the zodiac energy of it a little more specific for you, okay? What else do I want to talk about? We also have Jupiter and Neptune squaring off this year, and it's a mutable square. Jupiter in Sag loves to experience life and to learn through diving in, full immersion. Squaring Neptune in Pisces. Neptune's been in Pisces for ages, so it's not a big deal, because it's just helping us to get into a more spiritual place for a lot of people, right? But Jupiter and Neptune in a mutable square, this is just enough tension, so it gives us motivation. Just enough, because squares aren't negative, like you'll read in some books, how they just villainize squares. But we need a little bit of tension to move us, especially with the mutable signs. So to me, this is a fantastic energy for the year. Now, the mutable square between Jupiter and Neptune will inspire us to be creative, to work on our intuition, work on our spiritual practices, things like that. And the square energy of that, and you can write this down too. Let me find my notes. Here it is. January 13th, June 16th, September 21. So those 3 times is when they're exact, but they'll be playing with each other almost all year long. So that means we all have an opportunity to really tap into intuition and our spiritual and creative abilities. All right. Helps us to smooth things out. Now, some people might take this and just dive off the deep end and go into their illusion and go into a place that, you know, that if we drink too much or get into drugs. So drugs and alcohol sometimes can really, people can go off a deep end with that too. But the Capricorn, especially the Capricorn eclipses and the energy there, it definitely helps to anchor us in a little bit more, because we also have Saturn sextile Neptune this year. And with Saturn sextile Neptune, that's a fantastic anchor. I like that it's there. We actually need it because it's going to help to ground us in whatever it is we're going. So most of us don't go off a deep end into, you know, la la land. But hey, if you feel like diving in once in a while into music, I hear La La Land and I think music. You go into music, go into meditation, trust your intuition, get into painting, get into photography, whatever it is. These are the beautiful creative things we can do with Saturn sextile Neptune and the Jupiter squaring Neptune. All right, and I'll give you some more specifics in just a minute. Don't go away. I'll be right back. All right, Sag, this one's for you. And you guys got the jackpot this year since Jupiter is in Sagittarius now. We'll get to that in a little bit. Let's get started. First thing we have on January 5th, and this is the day we should be doing New Year's resolutions and vision boards and stuff like that, not January 1st or December. We have so much good energy on January 5th to set goals. And for you guys with Sagittarius rising, this powerful day of this new moon solar eclipse in Capricorn is in your second house. And that second house is the things we love, the things we value. Lots of times I like to look at it how I use my skills and talents to earn a living, which means it can also be how we take a hobby, which hobbies are usually things we love, and we can turn that into a stream of income. Capricorn is really great at discipline. So I want you to set new moons. It is a new moon eclipse. I want you to set new goals based on those things I just said. You know, what you love, what you value, how you can be disciplined to turn a hobby into something that might actually be a feasible way to earn a living. This area of your chart, what you love, what you value, is going through a big change this year, because all of these eclipses that we have this year and even into 2020 are in Capricorn and Cancer. So they're all affecting these two money houses for you, the second house and the 8th house. So this is an area where you can really start to, you know, pull in some creativity, and I'll get to that in a minute, because that's Jupiter-Neptune square this year, and I mentioned in the intro. So that is January 13, June 16, September 21. Being creative, being artistic, Jupiter in Sag, in your first house, all about that expansive nature of what you love, how you want to experience life, what you want to teach people, whatever it is. There's lots of choices here. Jupiter squaring Neptune. Neptune's in your 4th house of home and family. So this is just, to me, this is like working out of your home. Saturn is also involved with Neptune simultaneously. So Saturn sextiles Neptune while Jupiter squares it. And to me, this is a phenomenal opportunity, again, to allow some things to flow, but also get some discipline in there. So you are just ripe for setting up some new things in your life based on what it is that you love to do. And that's not necessarily your job. It's what you love to do. Let's move on to January 21st, that full moon lunar eclipse. It's a super moon, it's a full moon, it's an eclipse. We had that last year. We usually have 3, well, not every year, but this year we have 3 super moons that are full moons, January, February, March. that's an extended thing. You can listen to my weekly forecast if you subscribe to my if you are a subscriber to my YouTube channel. There you go. I'm trying to say too much all at the same time. But back to this eclipse, January 21st. That is in the area of your chart, which is your 9th house. And since Sagittarius rules the 9th house, this helps you to step even more into what it is that you want to be learning. Or, since it is a full moon, it's the very end of Leo, the last 18 months, 2018 and 17, you've had all these Leo Aquarius eclipses in this area. So whatever education you've been getting over the last 18 months or so, whatever you were interested in, this final eclipse on January 21st, this full moon, will show you either the reasons behind what you've been studying or show you what you're going to be able to take forward into the rest of your life with the education that you've already gained from that. So that's a really cool full moon eclipse. It's the only one that's not Capricorn Cancer this year. It's just the odd one out that happens. I also wanted to talk about Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Now he moves, let me get the chart up, there it is. Uranus moves into the sign of Taurus back on May 17th, 2018. And so think about what was going on in May, June, July, and then he went retrograde. But those hot points of the end of spring, early summer, because he moves back into Taurus for the next 7 years. He doesn't leave this time on March 6th. And so in that is in your 6th house, and that's the everyday area of your life, the everyday health and wellness, your everyday routines, your work. Patterns is that 6th house, Virgo's natural placement, right? When Uranus in Taurus gets in there, he's going to want to break away anything that's stale and stagnant. So he's going to be in there for 7 years. When a planet first moves over the house cusp lines, that's when we really feel it the most, right? Unless we have other things that are impacting it. But just looking at that, I would just say that, once Uranus gets it back into Taurus in March, you'll have an opportunity to break some old habits, some old bad habits, and even create some new ones if you choose. All right? That sounds good, doesn't it? Good. Well, Jupiter, Sag, you guys it can be excessive. So sometimes when we're excessive, we get into really bad patterns. This is an opportunity to break those patterns. So next I want to just briefly talk about 3 Mercury retrogrades. Happens every year. It's our opportunity just to exhale and regroup. We have 3 of them this year. They're all in the water signs. So that adds a lot of emotion to the whole overall picture of the year, which means, again, get in alignment with who you are, trusting your emotions and following your instincts, okay? I'll get very specific on those in my weekly videos, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Next, I want to talk about Jupiter retrograding. He will retrograde April 10 to August 11 in your 1st house, so where things have been expanding and expanding since November 2018. We now will see a little bit of contraction, and it's a reminder not to overdo it, all right? That's that Jupiter in that 1st house and retrograde. We also have Saturn retrograde this year. All the planets retrograde almost every year. Mars and Venus are a little different. The Sun, Moon never retrograde. Mercury 3 times a year. Venus once every 18 months, 19 months for Venus, and every just over 2 years for Mars. And then Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto once a year. So they're not rare. So don't let others make a big deal out of them. I mean, they're a big deal because we want to pay attention. So we're looking within and we're slowing down. So when Saturn retrogrades April 29 to September 17th in that area of your 2nd house where all that Capricorn energy currently is, with the eclipses, with Saturn, with Pluto, and more in a minute, Saturn retrograding there, it gives us a chance to kind of put all of our degrees together, if you will, because we've been kind of all over the place with things. So now it's time to start pulling things together and evaluating, where am I an authority? What am I really good at? And it helps us to check in and double check our work and make sure that we're in alignment with what it is that we want to be in alignment with. That would be that Saturn retrograde. There's always more. It's always more, but I can only do so much. in these videos. This is where your own year ahead comes in. So nhastrologer.com if you want to schedule your own. You can do that anytime. It doesn't have to be now. Anytime. Next eclipse. Moving on. July 2nd. And that is the new moon solar eclipse. And that is at 10 degrees of Cancer. And that is a heavy focus on new beginnings in regards to family. But for you, it's in the 8th house. Cancer is new beginnings with family. New moon is all about that. But in the 8th house, that is those shared resources. So you may be setting up some financial things that create shared resources. Maybe you're working on getting your retirement together. You're just starting your career life. And you're putting your retirement together, because that's what that 8th house has a lot to do with, those shared resources, retirement money, money that, you know, we earn, or money that earns, or things that earn money for us, like stocks and bonds. It's interest we pay. So I want you to focus in on what it is that, you know, whether you're making money, investing money, or trying to pay debt down. When we have an eclipse in that 8th house, especially in the sign of Cancer, it's mainly based on the financial obligations I have with family and or home, mortgages, things such as that. So that will be a focus. So you'll be able to set some goals based on that. Like, what kind of goals? I don't know, paying things off earlier, paying extra money towards your bills so you feel more secure further down the road. You'll decide, because these are all personal choices. And what I'm giving you is general information. So we're going to move on to the next eclipse, full moon lunar eclipse in Capricorn. Here's Capricorn again, July 16th. That eclipse is right next to Pluto. And so that makes this a it's heightened involvement, stirs up those emotions even more. So that full moon in that 2nd house, which is an eclipse, it's matches up. It's not the same numbers, but it matches up with the new moon Capricorn eclipse we had January 5th. So January 5th to July 16th, there's something going on here. This is typical. Within 6 months, we get to see the culmination of what it is that we started in January. All right? Those new things, that new goals that we set back in January. We get to see what they produced, and at that point, we're able to make adjustments, choices, decisions, continue on, let things go. Full moons are all about illuminating what it is that we need to see. Now, we also have Jupiter entering the sign of Capricorn on December 2nd. Now, that means he's also now moving into that 2nd house where all your Capricorn stuff sits. You hear the pattern here? Wherever Jupiter is, it's going to inflate those things. Capricorn is restrictive. Jupiter is expansive. Well, it's going to take Jupiter just a little while before he's going to start feeling like the belt is too tight because we overdid it. So we need to pay attention to everything that we've been doing since January, so we don't get excessive with what it is we're doing, and because this Jupiter in Capricorn is definitely going to show us up. Because the final aspect of the year is December 26th, and we have another eclipse, 5 this year, in Capricorn, sits right there with Jupiter. So this is a new moon eclipse in Capricorn. Here's another one. That's like 3 things in that area, right? Just eclipses. This is you really focusing in on what you value one more time, but not being so excessive that you're scattered all over the place. It's like the tortoise and the hare, right? It's about taking your time and figuring out what it is that you want to accomplish. So we start the year with the new moon eclipse in Capricorn. We end the year with the new moon eclipse in Capricorn. And that's typical. That's how the patterns work. So this is becoming an authority and taking charge. And Sag, I know you like to play and have fun, but this is a good year for you now to... Jupiter's in your sign, so this is a good year for expansion. But all these Capricorn things are saying, okay, but can we hone it down just a little bit? I know that's like 2 sides of one coin, because they are right next to each other. So you know where to find me if you want a little more input on that, because that was a lot of conflicting energy, wasn't it? I know, but that's what happens. I mean, nothing's always perfect. Nothing's always always good, always happy, but nothing's always great. You know what I mean. Stuff happens. Stuff's really good. all at the same time. And that's what you got going on here this year for 2019. All right. Thank you, guys. I'll see you again soon. Blessings and namaste.